What is up, you guys? I'm here to tell you about California, one of my favorite states. The first thing that I'm going to start off talking about is the Yosemite National Park. Yosemite is known for its giant sequoia trees, which literally range from 250 to 300 feet high. Now, if you've ever stood next to an oak tree is only 100 feet high. So just imagine 200 feet higher. Yosemite is literally so good for miles and miles of trails. If you go to Half Dome Summit, it literally has a mountain that is 8,000 feet high. Imagine hiking that. Two on today's list is the Hollywood sign, which is probably the one of the most famous signs in history. So it was created in 1923, and interestingly enough, it was created because they were trying to promote the new construction in Hollywood back in 1923. So it wasn't created just to say, hey, I'm in Hollywood. It was actually first called the Hollywood Land because it was the land of all the new Hollywood new construction. And two, it wasn't even created just to say that you're in Hollywood. It was created to promote the new construction. So, in my opinion, to see the Hollywood sign, one of the best places to see it is Griffith Observatory. So basically, you have to hike to get there, but it's basically a lookout of the city of Hollywood and the Hollywood sign. Number two is the Hollywood and Highlands. So that you actually have to hike to get to. But you can see the Hollywood sign from like a little lookout point. And number three, to see the Hollywood sign, I recommend basically what you do is you park at Canyon Drive Trailhead and then you walk about 4 miles to get to the sign, but you can actually get a really good look at the sign. But if you're going to do it that way, just make sure you bring a lot of water because there is no shade and there are a couple places to stop at, but again, it is a 4-mile hike just to see it. So definitely recommend you bring water. If you want to actually get as close as possible, the only place that you can get as close as possible is behind it, and that you have to actually park at Beechwood Canyon. It takes about, I want to say, like an hour or two to get there, but the best place to go is Beechwood Canyon if you want to get as close as possible. You can't get right up to it and you can't touch it, but that's as close as possible as you can get to the Hollywood sign. Personal favorite is the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge is 746 feet tall, and it literally services millions of people per year. It was created and built January 15th, 1933, and it finally opened to the public in 1937. There's an article written by Thomas Loomis in 1958, and he did so much research about it because it is so crazy back in 1937 that you would build, during the Great Depression, a bridge that long. Cannot stress this enough. This is probably my absolute favorite one. Pacific Coast Highway is the absolute most beautiful thing because you get 3 of my personal most favorite views. You get the Big Sur, which is a rugged mountain, and it has natural beauty and can be seen along the coastline. You get Midway Falls, which is along Big Sur, and it's a huge water fountain that you can actually swim in, by the way. It's an 80-foot water fountain and you can swim in it, and it flows directly into the ocean. That to me is so cool. And then you get the Bixby Bridge, which is 260 feet above the canyon and actually has a creek that runs underneath it. So you can stop there, you can carefully climb over and take a picture. But Pacific Coast Highway is absolutely beautiful. It has beautiful mountain ranges, but Pacific Coast Highway is definitely highly recommended. I would say definitely check it out because these 3 big things are top rated and you don't want to miss it. It is a beautiful sight to see, so definitely recommend, if you go to California, definitely check it out. Number 4 is Santa Monica. Santa Monica in itself is a beautiful city, but I'm going to be focusing more on Santa Monica Pier. Santa Monica Pier was created in 1909, and the funniest thing about it is that it wasn't even created for what it is now. Santa Monica Pier was created because people back in the 1900s were trying to figure out, okay, well, where's our sewage going to go? So they created a pipeline that goes underneath the pier for all of their sewage to go. So it's actually kind of funny because the original intention was for everyone's sewage, but now it's a beautiful amusement park for people to enjoy and families to enjoy. There's so much history with Santa Monica Pier, and I'm about to go into it. In 1915, because around the 1920s, that's when the sewage kind of discontinued and they really didn't need usage for sewage like that. So between 1915, they actually turned it into a community amusement park, and that is where Charles Loof actually added the very first carousel. It was the largest carousel, and there were 2 piers actually converted into one because there were so many people that were going over the period of time that they just couldn't fit it into one pier. So Charles Loof, which eventually became a carousel entrepreneur, built 2 piers into one to fit the amount of people that were going in there. For a couple years, because of the damage of the pier, it did actually reopen in 1921, but it was reconstructed with concrete piles because how many people were using the pier versus how strong the wood piles were, it couldn't hold that many people. So in 1921, it finally reopened and continued being a fun house, and it even featured Popeye for 25 years. It was the home to Popeye and the show Popeye for 25 years. That's where he was, on the Santa Monica Pier. Fast forward to 1983, 2 storms destroyed 1/3 of the pier, leaving it damaged until 1990 when it finally reopened back up, being a destination for kids and families for over 100 years. So if you go to California, definitely check out Santa Monica. It is one of the most famous piers in history. It's been trying to, you know, make it stand for 111 years. It's home to an amusement park, it's home to beautiful beaches, it's home to, you know, just a beautiful place to be. And if you're going on vacation, I definitely recommend 1, going to California, and 2, going to Santa Monica, just because there's so much history there, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So I highly recommend it. In conclusion, California in itself is one of my favorite states. I think that it's beautiful, not only because you have San Diego, Santa Monica Pier, do a lot of beautiful things. It has 60-degree weather. It has beautiful hikes and mountain ranges like the Yosemite, and you can do amazing things such as you can do a celebrity house tour, which I think is kind of cool because you can literally go on like a 2-hour tour and go around the Hollywood area, and you can see all the famous people's houses. You can go on a bus and they tell you the history of the houses, and I personally think if you're a celebrity junkie or if you like keeping up with the Kardashians, you can go see their house on the house tour. You can go to Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is a beautiful aquarium, and it has so many different interactive things for kids, and if you just love just aquariums, it's definitely a place to go. And number 2, you can go on a celebrity star walk. So if you go in Hollywood, you can see all the celebrity stars. So that's something that I've always wanted to do, just because I think it's so cool to kind of see all of celebrity stars on the Hollywood Star of Fame or Hollywood Hall of Fame. So I just think that that's kind of cool. And California is even home to Lake Tahoe. So if you're a nature junkie like I am, definitely go to Lake Tahoe because it is beautiful, and you can stay in resorts and bed and breakfasts right there on the water. You can wake up and go to sleep right on the water in such a beautiful scenery, and you can wake up to nature and go to bed in nature. So I just definitely think that California is something to put on your bucket list if you are going on a vacation. And if you are, definitely talk to me and book something with me, because we can get the vacation of your dreams in California, or really wherever you want to go. So if you're interested in going to California, let's talk, let's have a conversation, and let's have you do something that you will never regret. All right, thanks.